like a lot of
Yeah.
roll calls on
Bring the Selectmen's meeting for September 23rd, 2013 to order. First order of business is approval of minutes from the previous meeting.
I move that they be accepted as read.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to accept the minutes as read. All those in favor? In favor? None opposed? Financials before the warrants, $87,894.66, warrant of $8,091.13, payroll warrant of $1,106.53, leaving a balance of $78,697. Old business, approved 150th committee finances. Or disapprove, approve or disapprove 150th committee finances.
I'd like to question that $60 discrepancy. I spent a considerable amount of time, and because I didn't get prior to the celebration broken down, I couldn't compare it. So I veered up left field.
It was difficult in some areas too. Some were easy. I mean, the fireworks were easy, the flags were easy. Some were difficult to break down because theirs were, as they should have been, lumped together, whereas ours were broken down more. You know, for all of their expenses for one event, they had them added together, whereas ours would have been as the bills came in. I never found $60 even. I found several areas where our numbers didn't match, but I didn't find $60 even. I don't know if Mr. Tibbetts did or not.
John, did you explore that?
I have not.
Good.
I guess I got a question on the annual report delivery. That's $240, or is that 2 years delivery?
That must have been 2 years.
What's your pleasure? Go over it some more? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Do I hear a motion?
Well, what are we going to do? make a motion that we approve.
What was that?
I said I make a motion that we approve this report. See, what do we?
I don't
Where
like
did this
to approve
discrepancy,
something
well,
that I don't
this is-
understand.
Yeah, I don't understand what the $60 is about.
Mr. Chairman,
Seems to me if there's a $60 discrepancy, then how do you know it's a discrepancy if you don't know where it is?
Well, some of the discrepancies found didn't add up to $60. So nothing added up to $60 even. I mean, some of the things that, for example, for the porta potties, there was an extra dumping in there that wasn't included in this report. So it was
I
different.
gotcha.
You know, they're just a few, $2.50 times 50 isn't $78.75. So, you know, there's just some different, the ice cream social, there was an expense for that, and that wasn't listed in the, so, you know, just differences. I mean, it's not $60, it's not $60.
That
So
was
it's up to you.
That was $160, if I remember correctly?
168,
And that wasn't listed?
160.28 is not listed in one of the,
Gee, and instead of being off $60, it should have been off $220.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
do you mind if I,
go ahead.
the whole story of this 150th committee has been a story of nitpick, find fault, and yet we had a celebration. I don't believe state law requires that our funds be put through the town as was required. Maybe I'm wrong. But this committee certainly was treated and scrutinized far more than any other committee in the town of Columbia Falls. And if it will satisfy the selectmen so that they're able to put this matter to rest tonight, I'll bring $60 to this office tomorrow out of my own pocket. Because I'd like to see this matter settled and not nitpicked forever and ever and ever.
Well, I don't think that John should have to hold up $60 for that. So, I mean, this was a celebration for the town. I don't believe anybody took $60, you know, or purposely mislocated it. John, I'll split it with you.
John,
Yes, Pam.
John, would somebody answer the question that I have in my mind? 2 weeks ago, we talked about $60, and then we've come up with a bill of $162, did you say? For the ice cream social, that wasn't included. Do you know anything about that?
I don't even know what you're talking about. I mean, how could I?
Yes, Pam.
Can I just make a suggestion? You accept the report, subtract $60, and everyone balances. End of story. We're just a committee. We are volunteers. We've done the best job that we can in regards to reporting. There was no guidelines and nothing set up, any guidelines for us to report to the board. we're a $60 difference, accept the report, minus $60. We balance with the town balances with us, put the issue to rest. End of story.
Mr. Chairman,
Motion on the floor to accept the report.
Got a question as well.
Yes.
the only concern that I have with what Pam has suggested is Mr. Hammond wanted that report printed in the town report as you received it. Now, when somebody comes and wants to know why there's a $60 or whatever difference, you need a defendable position. Rather than just saying, as Pam said, we were a committee and we did the best we could.
I agree with what he's saying. I think that if we're going to have this in the town report, that there can't be a discrepancy of $60, let alone $222. I think that's got to be worked out.
Well, I'd love to know where the $222 came from.
Because of you get the $60 that we had 2 weeks ago, and then she just mentioned 160, did you say 162? For the ice cream social?
$160.28.
Well, Mr. Chairman, you know, this might have been well cleared up if when I came in and asked for the town's accounting so that we could make comparisons and check it out, I received the most convoluted report that I've ever seen in my life that could be made no sense of. And Nancy herself made up her own report, which she has there in her hand, because the report she gave me made no sense. So, you know, I don't think we were treated very fairly. We were the town waited until the report was brought for approval and then told us what was wrong with it. Not fair treatment at all.
What's your pleasure, gentlemen?
I don't think that we can act on this until they balance out. Because we've already made the motion, and it was passed, that report was going to be in the town warrant for the next Met. For it to be there, let's get the balance. We can't have a discrepancy.
I make a motion that we table this item until a further meeting.
I guess I'll second that.
Never was seconded. Been moved and seconded to table this item until a future meeting. All those in favor? 3 in favor, none opposed. Municipal conveyance.
You guys need to...
What did we say we were going to do the other night? We're going to call the plumber.
Right. Check on all the, what it was gonna
Going to get
cost for
estimates.
that, yeah, estimates for the roof. Have you seen it
No. We're also going to call mechanical services.
yet? Yep.
I make a motion that we call mechanical services and get them to come down and give us a quote on what it will cost to get this heating system operational, correct operation.
Wait, should
I have a question. I sat there, as you people did, at that meeting last Thursday, and we had recommendations. No, we didn't. I'm sorry, we didn't have recommendations. We had alternatives. We had alternatives that had to be met. And what you just stated was some of those alternatives. And I'm wondering, it bothered me, we were also told at that meeting that there were all kinds of problems with this building in the rented area that we hadn't been aware of. Or at least I wasn't aware of them. And there are still problems. I'm wondering if we ought to have a walkthrough of this building by someone that knows what they're looking at, which wouldn't be me, but somebody that knows.
Well, I think getting the plumber over here will
Yeah,
take care of the
plumber
plumbing
was
issues.
one of them, and the heating was another. The safety issue was a third. The pipes, driving over the pipes was a fourth. Okay. Let's have somebody check into those things, do a checklist on everything, let us know what's right and what's wrong, and then insist that our renters, if they have a complaint, it's in writing, and it's sent to us in writing. It's not just hearsay. We have it in writing. And we start from scratch. We were supposed to charge them a surcharge for fuel in excess of $2.60 a gallon. Am I right? Is that right?
Could be.
We've never done it. Now, why haven't we done it?
We were also supposed to make them a new driveway. It says in the lease that if
We
that...
were supposed to make them a driveway over here?
If the
There we go,
right-of-way...
that's the first I knew of that.
It's in the lease. If the right-of-way didn't pass, then the town, within 30 days, 60 days, was supposed to make a driveway over here. That's in the lease.
Do we have room enough to make a driveway over there?
There's probably room enough, but it was advised that we didn't do that because we'd be right up against
Boy,
this
how
foundation.
could I be on this board for 3 years and be so ignorant? I'm embarrassed. I really am embarrassed.
So if they can't use the right of way, then we're supposed to build them a road.
They can use the right-of-way. They just can't come around the way we thought they could come around because there's a strip of land there.
Right.
They can go down on the right-of-way where the town land butts it, and they can go out around that way, beyond the little shed.
So am I hearing Nancy right, that we didn't charge them the surcharge on the fuel because we were supposed to build a right-of-way?
I don't think that's
No, I don't
what
think
they
that
said. I
was...
just said that's something we didn't
Right.
uphold as well. I think from what I understand, they're trying to not cause, they're trying to be good tenants, and they know that things are
I'd be a
expensive.
good tenant too, if I was gonna get $1.20 less for fuel. I guess I'd be an extra good tenant.
No, it's not $1.20, it's only...
What, 260 from
Well, it's
380?
We're only paying $3.35 for fuel.
$335, okay.
There's a motion on the floor. I'll withdraw the motion. Municipal conveyance, what are we gonna do?
Ellen?
Well, we still need it.
In, I don't want to get in the middle of it, I'm not saying that. But as far as what I hear Alan saying about mechanical services, I was on another job and talked to Peter, who runs the office in Bangor, who came down here. And in the course of our conversation, I asked him, because I'd been attending the meeting, I said, Peter, did you come up with anything for Columbia Falls? I said, I haven't heard it mentioned in a meeting. And he said, yeah, he said, I've got it. So I think it's all ready. And I only throw that out as information to you so that I don't think it should be a long process to get that information from him.
What's your pleasure, gentlemen?
Well, that's already been, motion's been made and seconded, right?
No.
It wasn't seconded? You made the motion?
I made the motion, but I don't think it was seconded.
Okay, I'll second it.
I withdrew it, I'll have to make it again. I make the motion, we call Mechanical Services out of Bangor, have them come down and give us a quote on what it'll cost to get this heating system in this building properly run.
Okay, before I second that, do we want to tie in this roof as well?
They don't have anything to do with the roof.
I know they don't, but should we have somebody?
Well, we've got an estimate on the way, I believe. Richie said he was gonna give us an estimate.
Okay.
But that's just for, I mean, I'm sure it's not gonna be right down to the penny. I asked him to give us an estimate on what it would cost for a roof, just for general information purposes.
Okay. All right, I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded to call and hire Mechanical Services to come down and give us an estimate. All those in favor? 3 in favor, none opposed. I'll also make a motion that we call the plumber that we've been using, Jeff Huntley, and have him come up, fix the bathroom. I was notified by an electrician today that the sink off their museum, which used to be the science room, is running water, continuous. I think we should have it fixed.
Now, did they give you that in writing, or yes, sir?
Who?
You had today?
The electrician told me. He was down there fixing an outlet today.
Oh, I see, okay, all right.
Not by us calling the electrician, but they called the electrician.
Oh. And we pay the bill?
I don't believe it. I mean, I don't believe, if they want to call the electrician, that's fine. I think they should also pay the bill. I mean, because we didn't call the electrician. If they'd notified us, yes, we could have called the electrician, correct?
Well,
I mean, it seems so. Is there any other plumbing issues that, have they talked to you other than the bathroom they say doesn't work, the sink?
In 2 years I've been here, I've never heard of the
Right.
bathroom. I don't know if they did before I arrived, but in the 2 years.
Anything else that you know of? I mean, we've got a sink in here that runs water, don't we?
Runs water.
I mean, we ought to get it
Well,
fixed.
push it all the way
Right.
tight, but, yeah.
No, I don't know of anything.
And maybe to get him to do a walkthrough through all the bathrooms and make sure they're all operational.
That would be great. Yep.
I'll make that a motion.
I'll second that, too.
Been moved and seconded to get the plumber here to do a walkthrough and fix whatever's needed to be fixed. All those in favor? 3 in favor, none opposed.
Now that we've done that, I have another question.
Okay.
Somebody in that meeting said that there was a bathroom that needed to be fixed, but they didn't want it fixed because they're using it for storage? Is that what, was that conveyed to us?
That's the way I understood it, but
The one that smells. Yes.
I'm sure the taps are dried out, just like these ones.
There's no water in it.
Again, I think we get to convey to those people that if they have problems, we want to see it in writing. We don't want hearsay 6 months later.
Next item of business is public hearing, special town meeting date confirmation.
Oh, before we go on to that, I have another question over the
Okay.
municipal conveyance. Wasn't the suggestion made that a letter went out to the people on what your committee came up with?
Explanation.
The one we just talked about, mentioned, okay. Yep. Want to make that a motion? Well, what are we gonna put in there? What are we gonna put in the letter?
Did we have a secretary?
Hmm?
Did we have a secretary for that meeting, Thursday night?
I don't know, I didn't run the meeting.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Are you talking about the comment that Dick Bedard made about having a letter go out to the people? No? Okay.
Dick Bedard made a comment that I personally thought was very good, that when you have all of the information about what it's going to cost to fix, in quotation marks, the building, then you figure what that cost is going to do to taxpayers. For example, if using the mill rate to do that. And so if my taxes are $1,000, I would know that it's going to cost me
$100 more.
yeah, or $500, and that would considerably sway my thinking.
Mm-hmm.
But people have a right to know, and I think that's what he was saying, a right to know that information before they're asked to vote on anything.
That was the only thing that I heard in that whole meeting about sending out a letter.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that Dick's idea was that would go out after we had all of these questions
Right.
answered.
Right.
Yeah, is that why you're having a public hearing? I mean, everybody in town is invited to the public hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it does seem to be a good idea to send out letters, whether they're anonymous or not, to notify the people. And Dick made it very clear that it ought to be a letter signed by the selectmen. A lot of people don't read the paper, and a lot of people don't come to the meetings.
You really can't do a public meeting till you get some information.
Right.
Right.
But we still gotta have a special town meeting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe we can cross off the public hearing and have special town meeting date confirmation. If we've got to have that, we've gotta have it
Do
soon.
that anyway.
That, for the conveyance of the monies for the...
Yes.
And I think, David, are we going to act on that? Setting up a town meeting tonight?
Yes.
Alan, while you're still somewhere near the conveyance committee, that's a summary of the information the committee got from the attorney, and I thought you should have that, and to have the actual, in her packet, the actual emails themselves.
You're tentatively set October 22nd.
Now, we start paying that bill in November, the first payment is supposed to go out, so we'd be all set by having that meeting on the 22nd.
Yes, because there's the selectmen's meeting on the 28th, for it to be on that warrant.
Okay. sense to have that special town meeting that date.
Just wondering if the 22nd.
What was the date again? 22nd?
22nd of October.
That was the date that you said at the last meeting, tentatively set.
All right, tentative. So we're not, okay,
So the something-
we're not gonna have the public hearing, we're gonna cross that off, right?
I don't think we can, I don't think we, it's gotta be
Can
2
have
weeks
information.
advertisement. We don't have the information yet, so we gotta
Okay.
have the information before we can advertise, I would think.
Okay.
So this meeting would just be for the snow plowing thing?
Which, to me, I guess is kinda immaterial. We've signed a contract, we've gotta pay the bill, so the money's gotta come from somewhere, but.
Now, on that special town meeting, we have to deal with the conveyance of monies for the snowplow contract.
That's right.
David, do you think we ought to have information for what might happen with the two towns, with the fire department?
I think it's not a bad idea if you already have a
Would you
town
explain
meeting.
to the people what you explained to us earlier?
Well, we've been at this for a year now, discussing, and we haven't met every month because the chairman of the board, Mark Howell, is a selectman from Columbia, is out of town for a bit. Again, to kind of recap what we've been talking about, we're looking to combine the two fire departments from the two towns into a new municipal fire department that would be modeled after the ambulance service, a quasi-governmental agency, separate but under the direction of a board. Again, it would be a government agency. That seems to be the model that we're going after right now. As far as pulling it all together, I know we have a meeting tomorrow night. Mark is back in town, and I think after tomorrow night's meeting, we might be able to definitively say what we're ready to present. From the beginning, we've been discussing and looking at this as we would like to come to a public hearing or a town meeting in both towns with a finished product. In other words, the whole package. This is everything we're proposing. And of course, proposed alternatives, such as just rent over there, or one alternative, of course, is to build a new firehouse in this town. The consensus seems to be, and this is started by the select board here and other folks, that it would probably make most economic sense for us to not replace the building down there that we occupy now, and move over to the Columbia Fire Department building. And in the process of doing that, we looked at the fact that we could probably join the two departments. We might cut some overhead costs in the long run.